Hello, America. It's me, the ignorant American, and I'm not going to talk to you about the Middle East today. I'm going to talk to you about Barack Obama, Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae. Yes, sirree. Barack Obama said we need to privatize, we need to change them. Barack, you're only a day late and $150 billion worth of bailout money late. Do you know that Barack Obama, America, was the senator who received more financial contributions than any senator when he ran for the Senate? They paid him more for his campaign than any other senator. Barack Obama was right at the bottom of this. But let's go back, America, to the 1990s. Stephen A. Holmes, the New York Times, September 30th, 1999. I'm going to read this. Stephen A. Holmes, New York Times, September 30th, 1999. Look it up. Freddie Mac, the nation's biggest underwriter of home mortgages, has been under increased pressure from the Clinton administration, America, to expand mortgage loans among low and moderate income people, and felt pressure from stockholders to maintain its phenomenal growth in profits. In addition, banks, thrift institutions, and mortgage companies have been pressuring Fannie Mae to help them make more loans to so-called subprime borrowers, people who can't pay it back. These borrowers whose income, credit rating, and savings are not good enough to qualify for conventional loans can only get loans from financial companies that charge much higher interest rates, anywhere from 3 to 4 percentage points. Fannie Mae, the nation's biggest underwriter in home mortgages, does not lend money directly to consumers. It purchases loans from the banks on what it calls secondary markets. In other words, a bank loans it to people who can't pay it back, then they sell it to Fannie Mae, so we'll be on the hook for it because we got to bail out Fannie Mae. That's how it worked, America. By expanding the type of loans that it will buy, Fannie Mae is hoping to spur banks to make more loans to people with less than stellar credit ratings. In other words, America, people who can't pay it back. They can't pay it back. Fannie Mae officials stressed that the new mortgages will be extended to all potential borrowers who qualify for a mortgage. But they added the move is intended in part to increase the number of minorities and low-income homeowners who tend to have worse credit ratings to the people who can't pay it back. Peter Wallerston, a fellow of the American Enterprise Institute, was quoted in that article, and he said, from the perspective of many people, including me, this is another thrift industry growing up around us. If they fail, the government will have to step up and bail them out the way it stepped up and bail out the thrift industry. It failed, and we bailed them out for $150 billion. And now Barrack is coming in and saying we should change it. Barrack, you should have done this years ago under the Clinton administration. The Clinton administration expressed goal was to increase Americans who own homes regardless of their ability to pay. I'm going to read you some quotes from the lawmakers that you should hold accountable for this, America. Barnie Frank, right at the bottom of it. These two entities, Freddie and Fannie, are not facing any kind of financial crisis. This was in a banking hearing on September of 2003, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not facing any kind of financial crisis. The more people exaggerate these problems, the more pressure there is on these companies, and the less we will see in terms of affordable housing. Barney, they were facing a financial crisis. It did happen, and we bailed them out for $150 billion, stupid. Barney Frank again. I do not want the same kind of focus on safety and soundness that we have in OCC and OTS. I want to roll the dice. I want to roll the dice a little bit more in favor of subsidized housing. He rolled the dice, America, and he crapped out, and we had to bail him out for $150 billion, and the housing market crashed because of people like Barnie Frank. Maxine Waters, she said, if it ain't broke, why do we want to fix it? Have the GSE ever missed their housing goal? No, Maxine. Their goal was to give money to people who couldn't pay it back. That's what happened, and we bailed it out for $150 billion. Barney Frank again. I believe that there's been more alarm raised about potential unsafety and unsoundness than in fact exist. No, Barney, no. We bailed him out for $150 billion. Chuck Schulmer. I think a lot of people are being opportunistic, throwing out the baby with the bathwater, saying, let's dramatically restructure Freddie and Fannie when that is not what is called for as a result of what happened. Great, great. No, Chuck, you were wrong. $150 billion it cost us. Chris Dodd. What he says is, I just briefly will say, Mr. Chairman, obviously, like most of us, this is one of the great success stories of all time. Oh, man, this is one of the great success stories of all time. Hot diggity, great success stories. And we don't want to lose sight of that and what has been pointed out by all of our witnesses here. Obviously, the 70% of Americans who own their own homes today, in no small measure, do because of the work that's been done here and that shouldn't be lost in the debate and discussion. No, I didn't need that. I can pay my mortgage. Chris, we bailed him out for $150 billion, and Chris, you were wrong. You were wrong, Chris. These people right here were the ones who benefited from it. Franklin Raines, $90 million. Johnson, $21 million. Gorelick, $26 million. They walked away with all that money, and we walked away with a bill for $150 billion. The only person who made any sense in this whole thing was a guy named Senator Chuck Hagler, Republican of Nebraska. And what he said, Mr. Chairman, what we're dealing with is an astounding failure of management and board responsibility. An astounding failure of management and board responsibility, driven clearly by self-interest and greed. And when we refer to this issue in the context of the best we can say, it's no Enron, now that's a hell of a high standard. One person out of all the quotes I said, stood up and said, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are out of control. Now, when you look at the financial problems that we're going through right now, they started in the housing market, and they started in the 90s under the Clinton administration. I'm sorry, America, if you don't agree with that. Go do your research. Stephen A. Holmes, New York Times, September 30th, 1999. Get your facts straight. But America, we got to hold these people responsible. They haven't been held responsible, and we're paying that debt out, and now Barack Obama is coming out and saying, well, let's change it. No, Barack, it should have been done a long time ago, and you all didn't do it, and that's what caused a lot of this financial problems that we're having today. So I just look at you, Barack, with disgust when I hear that you're saying stuff like this. Hold these people responsible, America. Get angry. Call your senator. Call your congressman. Call Barack Obama and say, we want hearings on what happened to our housing. What happened with our housing. Hold Barney Frank responsible for it. Chuck Schulmer, Chris Dodd. I love you, America, but they pay us for patsies. Toodaloo. And I hope they start listening, stupid. See you later.